Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. We got a friend coming in here. Just a minute. Let her come in here before we get on to the next thing. Thank you. Yeah. Hello there. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My Angelou. Thank you. Let us, everybody, remain standing. Don't sit down. Don't sit down. What I want you to do now is I want you to call out the names of people that you feel that in our prayer this morning, that in our response and call, the name of people that you want to be included. I want you to call out the names. Don't wait, just call them out now, okay? All right. Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let us pray.
O Creator God, who creates and recreates, we're open to your graciousness and your goodness. We're open to your love and peace.
All right.
We are open to your joyous presence. But above all, we're open to your spirit that keeps us alive and excited and enthusiastic about life. We are grateful that you do not pass us by, that when we cry out for help and we mention these names of persons, that they do not go unheard, that while you're calling on others, you hear our voices and our needs and our sorrows and our pain and our hurt, and they are addressed and they are touched by your loving care, concern, and comfort.
Oh, yeah.
We're grateful that when we come here, we will be heard. We will sing and hear great singing. We will be uplifted and we will lift others up. We will rejoice, we will celebrate, we will be blessed and blessed and blessed. We're truly grateful that when we come here, that it does not matter who we are, our gender, our age, our sexual orientation, our lifestyle, our class or creed.
All right.
But what matters is that you love each and every one of us, that you see each and every one of us as somebody, as significant, as people with promise and potential and purpose. We are grateful that we can come here, whoever we are. Now breathe on us, O Spirit of the living God, that all that we do and all that we live and all that we experience will be your will for our lives. Breathe on us, O Spirit of God, that we can be focused and centered and grounded in faith and hope and love. Breathe on us, O Spirit of God, that as we are lifted up this morning, we can go forth and encourage and inspire and help anyone whom we meet, whom we minister unto. As we leave this morning, may we overcome any fears or doubts or any guilt that keeps us from being fully whole, fully alive, fully free, fully complete, and fully yours. Let us go forth liberated, courageous, and confident as we say together, amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Right on.
Right on.
Shalom.
Shalom.
And salam.
Salam. We're going to sing now, leaning on the everlasting arms. All together, let us be together this morning as we lean on the everlasting arms, as we walk and talk, and as we strive with each other to find our own pathway and our own journey. Yeah, let us lean on his arms. Yeah, we are leaning. Turn around now and embrace your brothers and sisters. Embrace each other. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, may I present to you at this time Janice Mirikitani, who is the power of the church. My wife, the director of programs, Jan.
Thank you, Reverend. This is liberation in action, right? You have often heard me boast about our children, and it's because I'm so very proud of them, and because I know you are, and because you keep your loving arms around them and help them grow. The physical and emotional and psychological growth of our children is so critical for all of us, because you know that they are, if we are to enact being a village, we must make sure that they continue to be healthy. They know that we are a family to them, particularly in these terrible and critical times when sometimes the environment around them is not so healthy. But because of your nurturing and your care, the Maya Angelou living room that we have named after Dr. Maya Angelou has seen a 500% increase in teenage participation over the past 2 years. Teen pregnancy has been reduced in the past year from 26% to 0%. You have sent 100 children and teenagers to summer camp this summer. And Guy and Stephanie and Dr. Angelou, you should be very happy to know that we reduced our high school dropout rate by 90%. All of our kids are graduating high school, and because of your love and generosity, we're going to give them all scholarships to college. Thank you. Thank you. We're so proud. And we're going to hear from some of our children. Now, I guess one thing that they do need are maybe some alarm clocks, you think? Because we've got many, many more kids than this, but you're going to hear from some of them, and let's encourage them and keep your loving arms around them. Thank you.
for the director. Yeah. Let it overflow. Fill my cup. Let it overflow. Let it overflow with love. My brothers and my sisters, may I now bring to you the most soulful singers in America, the Glide Ensemble.
We are as children, even when we fall. Some by the wayside, thorns all around. But when we fall, He just lets us fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid ground. Christ is the planter of every seed that falls. His grace secures us when we fall down. But our roots will grow. He just lets us fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid. Solid, let me fall on solid ground. Although some temptations stir our very souls, we look for the answers, they can't be found. As soon as we give up, He just lets us fall on solid ground. Solid ground, let me fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid ground. Christ is the planter of every seed that falls. His grace secures us when we fall down. But our roots will grow. He just lets us fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid ground. Solid, solid, let me fall on solid ground. Solid, let me fall on solid ground. Let me fall on solid ground. Let me fall on solid ground. Just look where I've come from. I've come a long way. I've had some lonely, lonely, lonely nights. Oh yes, I've had, and I've had some dark days. I've almost been just look where I've come from. I've come through the storm and the rain. Many evils have crossed my path, oh yes they have, but I kept trudging just the same. I asked the Lord
know these soloists individually. I'll tell you, tough today. Tough today. Just tough. Really? Really? Yeah. Tell you. I'd like to invite you to become a part of Glide, the extended family of Glide, the community of Glide. I'd like for you to become a part of this church. What you do is after this celebration, as you can see, this is a celebration. After this celebration, you can go right through that door, and the first door to your left, and there will be people there to greet you. And we'd love to have you. We don't care what color you are. We don't care what kind of clothes you wear.
Amen. Amen.
We don't care what your sexual orientation is. We don't care what class you're in, whether you rich. Well, we do care a little bit about that, though. We want to see you. We don't care if you're rich, poor, middle class, no class, underclass, any class. We want you. We need you. We don't care what your religious affiliation is. Whether you're a Muslim, or whether you're a Jewish, or Christian, or whether you're Buddhist, or Shinto, or whatever. Zoroastrian, whatever. Come on home. This is your home here. This is home. We're happy to have you. Now, what I want to do right now, real quick, where's Ron Swisher is the new minister who's come to help me out. I needed help, and he's here. He is now on staff. Come here. Come here. And he preached at the 9 o'clock last Sunday, and did he preach? Yeah. They ain't gonna tell you preached if you did, man. If you didn't preach, they say, no, he didn't. Preached last Sunday. And he's been working during the week, and he said the weeks that he's been here. And I'm just very happy to welcome him. Now, you're gonna do something right now, aren't you?
Right. Great to be here. Good morning to all of you. I got up this morning in Seattle at 3 o'clock this morning and got to the airport at 5, took a 6 o'clock flight, got here about 8:15, ran to Long Terminal Parking, ran here and got here at 9, and Cecil was praying. Why did I do that? Because I didn't want to miss Glide and Glide Ensemble. I've been in Seattle all week because we have been in the process of electing a bishop for the Western jurisdiction of the United Methodist Church. It's a long process. It took 24 ballots. Many people asked, why didn't we put Cecil in there? But Cecil didn't want to leave Glide. Even though you said last week, it sounds good, Bishop Williams. But on the 24th ballot, we elected a person named Edward Pop. He's from Denver. He's going to be serving the Portland area. So I know you didn't want to go to Portland. But on the 21st ballot, I might just say that Douglas Fitch, who's a member of the Board of Trustees here at Glide, he represented you well. You could be proud of him. He spoke well. He articulated the vision. About on the 21st ballot, he resigned, or I should say he dropped out at that point, but he gave a battle all the way to the end. And so maybe next time around in the year 2000, when we elect 2 or 3 bishops at that time, maybe someone else could be elected. But it was a long process, and I appreciated being a part of it. But I wanted to be back here, and I didn't know I'd have the added blessing of having Maya also here. That's great. Let me say that as I was taking one of the shuttles over to the meetings at the University of Washington, one of the persons on the shuttle asked me, what church do I belong to? And I said, Glide. And he said that he had just seen the film on Glide. And he was so excited, and he told me all the things that happened at Glide and that's happening at Glide. I've only been here 3 weeks, and he knew more than I know. But he was excited about all the ministries. He said, this is the way every church should be. And we know that's possible because of your participation and the Spirit, as well as those who give. Those who are committed to giving their tithes and their offerings, and all that you give makes it possible for these many ministries. And there's so many ministries. I think Cecil mentioned the rich, but we welcome all gifts. And the rich should give a little bit more because they've been given more. But all of you who give make this ministry possible. So I know at this time we want to have the ushers come forward and begin in the rear as we give of our offerings and give out of response to the grace and the love and the goodness here, not out of obligation, but out of joy and out of excitement of being a part of this dynamic ministry. So give. As I always say, give cheerfully and give with a smile. Let us begin with our offerings. I believe there's a few announcements to be made. I want to announce again that the youth basketball team sign up at the volunteer table to play or volunteer. That will be young men and young women, youth basketball team. The memorial for George Brooks is this afternoon at 1 p.m. And then I know you're continuing the discussions on Stop Racism and church burnings. And that is again on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And also, along with discussing church burnings and racism, the idea to adopt a church also will be discussed. The food program volunteers meet Wednesday at 6 p.m. And that's one of the things the gentleman on the shuttle said to me, that the millions of people that you serve through the food program, 1 million a year, he says that's just outstanding. All churches should be involved in that, and you make that possible also. The new Glide sweatshirts are now available. Okay. I thought it was going to be cold today, but it's not cold today. But you can still get one of those sweatshirts. Also, tapes and CDs of the Glide Ensemble, tapes and videos of today's celebration, Glide T-shirts, as I just mentioned, and books are available downstairs. Books written by Jan as well as Cecil. And Cecil also mentioned joining this wonderful Glide Church. Please, we'll welcome you right after this service as well as after the 11 o'clock service. And I believe they meet in the Angelou room, right? That's right. Good to be here. God bless.
We're going to put the podium out here and let Maya come up and say a few words. That's my sister. We've come a long way. Hey, I want you to greet her son, Guy Johnson, and his wife, Stephanie Johnson. Say hello to us, just wave. They're part, all of them are part of our own church here, our extended family. And I want you to do something special. Today and tonight, Guy's going in the hospital in the morning to be operated on. I want you to think and pray and put your loving arms around him. And then his wife is going to go 2 days later to the hospital and put your loving arms around her. Stephanie, gonna be with you. Yeah, gonna be with you. Thank you for your love for all people who are going through it. Going through pain and hurt. Trying to heal and make things take place that will keep us going on. sometimes it's important for us to know that we need to reach out. And when we reach out, what happens is people are reaching out for us also. So we're just reaching out for each other and all of us together. Can I get a microphone? That's what I was asking for somebody to help me with here. Put that over there, please. Gonna bring. It will be all over in the morning. Ain't no need to worry when the night is gonna bring. It'll be all over in the morning. In the morning. It'll be all over in the No matter how heavy it gets, no matter how many burdens you got to bear, I tell you what, just bring it together and know that there are people who are saying that when you land on solid ground. Because when you land on solid ground, it means that there's the presence of something even greater than ourselves. So we embrace the Spirit of God. So be with the Spirit, be with us. In the Dr. Angelou. Yes.
I'm on my journey now, Mount Zion, on my journey now, Mount Zion, and I wouldn't take nothing, Mount Zion, for my journey now, Mount Zion. I'm on a journey. I'm on a journey. Just as you are on journeys, each one of us came here to be somebody. And sometimes on that journey, there have been steps, stairs with splinters in them, turns and twistings, up so steep that you couldn't hardly get your leg up over it, and so slick that you slide down before you know it. On a journey. It is a wonderful journey. And it is wonderful that the journey brings me often enough to glide to get some. Hello. Often enough. Oh, these are the singingest people in the world. These people sing. Now, see, they call themselves the Glide Ensemble. I think they're my choir. Because they lift me up so high, I almost touch the sky when Glide Ensemble sings. And those children, have you seen such dignity as this little beauty down here? Oh, Lord. You all get comfortable, because I'm going to be here a while. I started yesterday morning in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and flew up to Philadelphia, where I gave a principal speech at 1 o'clock, and then flew out here and got here about 9 last night and went to the bedside of one of my great loves, Jessica Mitford, who is preparing to make a transition, and then home to my son and my daughter-in-law. I'm on a journey, and I need all help, all encouragement. Now, I know this. I know the conductor. You see now? I'm on a journey, but I do know the conductor. If I don't have a ticket, it's all right. You see, I know that on this journey, if I have lost all my luggage, it's all right. I'm on a journey. It is a wonderful thing to realize that you can't fail on this journey. You cannot. You can stumble and fumble and fall, but you can't fail. Not on this journey. So I need to remember that all the time, and I need to be reminded that I need to remember. Just like each one of us. We so often forget to remember. But then a group sings, as this beautiful, beautiful artist signs, and a new preacher just 3 weeks old gives a prayer. Just 3 weeks old. And then your own minister, and my own minister, says a few lines and just lifts you up, ready to go again. Hello, I'm on a journey. I have a poem I'm going to read called The Village. The low-pitched, tight-skinned drums are silent. The yellow straw and red clay huts are gone. The bright painted walls that ring the compound have been trodden back into the earth. The strong angular lines which did adorn the unending walls within which we dwelt have faded, like the rituals that once gave spirit to our ancestors' voice. The broad savannah is covered with pavement. A new chief lives thousands of miles distant, and a certain deafness comes from listening to gunfire and the keening in the street. Yet I hear you, my brother and my sister, as if the drums were still resounding, announcing the news of our forefathers and booming out the passage of the sunset. There is no visible gash in the skin. We have enacted, though there is no visible gash in the skin, we have enacted our own blood ties, spilled precious memories in the common bowl, and supped deep from the communal cup. 3,000 miles of cement separates us in a world collapsing upon itself. Yet, we have raised a new painted compound, invisible but stronger than clay. The circular golden thatched huts are gone, and we have returned to the olden ways. Your child is welcome at my cooking fire, and my mother rests easily by your hearth. Ancient clan lines are lost and nameless in the brash cacophony of the inner city. Call the shaman, summon the linguist. There must be observance of our kinship. We are people from the same village. Our children now reach out to each other. Across the madness, we are connected. The drums rumble on in fiber optics. The Village by my son Guy Johnson. I have said many times that my son is my monument. He told me years ago, Ma, if I'm anybody's monument, I want to be my own. There's a world of difference, you know, between being an old male and being a man. There's a world of difference between being an old female and being a woman. World of difference. Born with certain genitalia, if you don't get run over by an out-of-control truck, you may become an old female or an old male. But to become a man, to become a woman, is something so wondrous that it is divine. When a man walks in the room, everybody knows it. Not when a brute walks in. Not when a bigot or batterer walks in. But when a man walks in the room, everybody knows somebody's here. When a woman walks in, she may be black, white, Asian, Native American, Aleut. She can be fat or thin or pretty or plain or vowed or celibate. But when she walks in the room, everybody says somebody's here. One of my greatest blessings, if not the greatest blessing I've received, is to be the mother of Guy Johnson. I am the mother of a man. That's something to say, you know. Hello. So I'm going to say about 12 poems. Okay? I am at home. This is my church. Now, I do want to say some poems that make you laugh and make me laugh, because I agree with the minister, our new minister, who said that we should give cheerfully, with our own pastor who says we should give cheerfully. It is said that a cheerful spirit is good medicine. So I want to laugh this morning. I want us all to laugh. Here's a poem of mine called Weak in Glory. Some dicty folks don't know the facts, posing and preening and putting on acts, stretching their necks and straining their backs. They move into condos up over the ranks. They lend their souls to the biggest bank. They buy big cars they can't afford, then ride around town acting bored. My job at the plant ain't the biggest bet, but I pay my bills and stay out of debt. I get my hair done for my own self's sake, so I don't have to pick and I don't have to rake. I take the church money out and then I head across town to my friend girl's house where we plan our round. We meet our men and go to a joint where the music is blues and to the point. Folks talk about me, they just can't see how I work all week at the factory, then get spruced up and laugh and dance and turn away from worry with a sassy glance. They accuse me of living from day to day. Who are they kidding? So are they. My life ain't heaven, but it sure ain't hell. I'm not on top, but I call it swell if I'm able to work and get paid right and have the luck to be black on a Saturday night. Right. Well, some years ago, I went to speak in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And when I finished speaking, I went backstage. That was say like 5 years ago. 3 years later, I was invited back to the same place. I spoke, I enjoyed myself, went backstage, and a woman came through that phalanx of security, tough as Reedy. You know that? Came through. She came through, I don't know, she reminded me of myself, except that she was white. She's 6 foot tall, so am I. She had a certain flair, so do I. She was about my age, which is what the French call a certain age. After so long, they don't even count, you know. And she came to me, she said, Miss Angelou, I want to thank you for my daughter's life. And she started to weep. So I put my arms around her, she put her arms around me, and we wept. She said her daughter had attempted suicide any number of times. And 3 years earlier, someone had brought her to hear me, and I had spoken on the courage to live. And she said her daughter went home and called her that night and said, Mother, forget that I've ever tried suicide. I'll never try it again. I believe that my life has such promise. I may help somebody and even help myself. Well, the mother cried, I cried, we had a good time. We broke the embrace, and a young woman appeared. And this was the daughter. The mother said, Cynthia, what are you doing here? And the daughter lives in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. She read that I was going to speak, so she drove from Eau Claire to Minneapolis. So the daughter cried, I cried, the mother cried. We had a great time. Oh, it was good. And then when we broke our embrace, the mother said, here is a letter my daughter wrote to me that night after having heard you 3 years ago. I want you to have it. I took the letter. I was on tour, so I didn't get home for 3 weeks. When I got home, I read the letter, and it made me break down and cry. It was so racist and so ignorant. I just cried. The daughter said, Mother, I went to hear Maya Angelou, and it's changed my life. She said, but Mother, I wish I could describe her to you. She was so big and ugly and black that she frightened me. I started crying. You know how the tears, sometimes they just start trickling, and then they flood down, and then before you know it, you have a little cough, and before you know it again, you're sobbing. I thought to myself, I better get control of myself, you know, because I was getting so saddened and depressed that I might start thinking about suicide. Now, mind you, I wouldn't go alone. I'd find her. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, sir. But then I thought about Langston Hughes' poem called Harlem Sweetie. Now, you all know black people range in color from plum blue to milk white. Now, why that is, I'll come back next Sunday and talk about it. But here's Langston Hughes' poem. And when I took it back into myself, it lifted me up and set me again on my journey. Have you dug the spill of Sugar Hill? Glance once over on this sepia thrill. A brown sugar lass, caramel treat, honey gold baby, sweet enough to eat. Peach skin girl, coffee and cream, chocolate darling out of a dream, walnut tinted, cocoa brown, pomegranate, pride in town, rich cream colored, plum tinted black. Feminine sweetness is not Harlem's lack. From the glow of the quince to the blush of the rose, persimmon, bronze, cinnamon toast, walnut, cocoa, let me repeat, caramel, brown sugar, a chocolate treat, ginger, wine gold, persimmon, blackberry, licorice, clove, cinnamon, all through the spectrum Harlem folks vary. So if you want to know beauty's rainbow sweet thrill, stroll with me down Luscious. Hey, delicious. Woo! Fine. Sugar Hill. I was thinking about another poem when you were speaking earlier this morning, and when the choir was singing, especially the young children. Some years ago, was in London, and I saw two young people, white, male and female, about 18, sitting with their backs against the store one morning. They had the guitar, that little dog, you know, that little dog. He was all over the Haight-Ashbury. He used to be down in the village. Same dog, little brown dog. They had their backpacks, and I just saw them. Thank you. I just saw them, and just a second. Thank you. And as I approached them, I just recorded them. And a man came out of the store. He must have been called in the mid-morning, in the dawn. He came out of the store where the children were sitting, and he spat on them. I don't mean he just spat. I mean he cleared his throat and spat on them. Now, he was white, and they were. He couldn't tell if those children were Irish or Welsh or Scots or Scandinavian or Irish. He couldn't tell. But he spat on them, and they looked more like him than they did like me. But I knew those were my children. Those were my children. I will not have my life minimized by somebody else's ignorance and at somebody else's whim. I will not. Not. So I don't curse very well. It's not one of my arts. But I went to that man, I poked him in the chest, and I put some combinations of words together. And I bowed my back. I said, "You double-kneed, knock-kneed, chili-eating, potent." But the man didn't know what I was saying. The children, I didn't know what I was saying. But I went home, and I wrote a song, which Miss Roberta Flack sings. And this is for the children who sang earlier. When you see them on the freeway hitching rides with their dogs and their guitars by their sides, you need to ask, what's all the beating and the cheating and the bleeding and the needing all about? Take time out. When you see him with a band around his head and an army surplus bunk that makes his bed, you need to ask, what's all the lying and the dying and the killing and the thrilling all about? Take time out. Take a minute, feel some sorrow for the folks who thought tomorrow was a place that they could call up on the phone. Take a month and show some kindness for the folks who thought that blindness was an illness that affected eyes alone. When you see her walking barefoot in the rain, and you know she's tripping on a one-way train, you need to ask, what's all the yelling and the selling and the buying and the lying all about? Take time out. You can sell your soul for money and run off to the country for your cookouts and your parties on the lawn, while your children seek sedation in Eastern meditation or visions that go shooting up their arms. When you know that youth is dying on the run, and my daughter trades dope stories with your son, we need to see what all the killing and the thrilling, the beating and the cheating, the bleeding and the kneading has brought about. We have to take time out. Have to do it. Have to do it. Oh, folks, I wasn't ready to finish. Okay, one more. Okay, I said I want you to laugh. Of course, laugh capriciously if you feel like it. But I want you to laugh at this joke and this poem in this joke and this joke in this poem, because it again makes me realize how wonderful it is to be alive and have a wonderful sense of humor and have such faith. Faith, I mean it, to step right out on the word. stepping out on the word. You're leaning on the arm. You said to call on your name, and I'm calling. You said to trust in your word, and I'm trusting. You said to lean on your arm, and I'm leaning. I'm stepping out on your word. You said you'd be my protection, my only and glorious Savior, my beautiful Rose of Sharon, and I'm stepping out on your word. Into the alleys, into the highways, into the roads and the streets and the byways, past rumor mongers and midnight gamblers, past the liars and the cheaters and the ramblers. I'm stepping out on your word. So it is a wonderful thing to have the faith to absolutely step out. If we have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Everything to gain. And just stand there and double dog dare anybody to question you. A double dog dare. So this last poem is a poem of stepping out on the word, and it's supposed to be funny. I wrote it. I had gotten a call from Arsenio Hall, and he asked me to come onto his program, and I said, I thank you, Mr. Hall. He said, oh, no, doctor, no, ma'am. I'm just a chap. I mean, don't call me Mr. No, ma'am. But I need you on the program. I said, Mr. Hall, I don't know if your constituents and I have that much in common. I mean, woo, woo, you know. But he was so persuasive, and I went on to the program, and I loved it. I went back to do the program about 8 times. But the first time I did it, I did a little piece of doggerel I'm going to do for you called 7 Women's Blessed Assurance. I did the piece, and then I took a flight to Geneva and took a train to Bouy and a train up the Alps, a funicular, where I gave the principal speech 3.5 hours in English, French, and Spanish. Thank you. I was so full of myself. I mean, now I never trust people who act like that, who act as if they put airplane glue on the back of their hands and stuck them to their forehead. But I was acting that way, just so. So I took the train back down to Bouy and over to Geneva. I was standing in the Geneva airport with my umbrella here, purse over my shoulder, a briefcase. When a young white man came up, he said, Dr. Angelou? I said, no. He said, Miss Maya Angelou? I said, ew. He said, Miss Angelou, I was in the audience at Arsenio Hall the night you did 7 Women's Blessed Assurance. Miss Angelou, I said then, and I say now, woo, woo, woo. I started laughing. When I straightened up, my umbrella was way over there, purse back here, briefcase down there, and the young man was gone. And I had laughed so hard, I had dropped everything. And those Swiss were looking at me like this. So here's this poem. 7 Women's Blessed Assurance. The first woman said, one thing about me, I'm little and low. I find me a lover wherever I go. The second woman said, they call me string bean, I'm so tall. Men see me and they're ready to fall. The third woman said, I'm fat as butter. I'm rich as cake. Men start to tremble every time I shake. The fourth woman said, I'm young as morning. I'm fresh as dew. Everybody wants me. Look at you. The fifth woman said, I'm little, I'm low. I'm close to the bone. They love to pick me up and just carry me home. The sixth woman said, when I pass 40, I drop pretense. Because men like women who got some sense. But the seventh woman was my favorite for obvious reasons. The seventh woman said, 55 is perfect. So is 59. Because everybody needs to rest sometime.
Let me have that just a minute. Sit down just a minute now, just 1 minute. Let me say one thing to you. I want all of you that are going through some pain and hurt and suffering to take at heart the words that come from Isaiah when he says that the prisoners must come out of the prisons. And when you come out of the darkness, what you do is show yourself. And in the 49th chapter, he says, show yourself. Show all of yourself. My words for you this morning are, if you're going to trust, you've got to be vulnerable. Show all yourself. That's why trust does not work, because we're not willing to be vulnerable. Now, when I talk next Sunday, I'm going to tell you that to be vulnerable means that you got to be wounded. You're going to be wounded. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be put down. You're going to be talked about. You're going to be shoved aside. You're going to be, it's going to come against you. But the joy, you see, of finding trust in a community, trust when you have to know that pain and suffering is facing you, trust when you got to be operated on, trust when you know you got cancer, trust when it looks like all is gone. When you trust, it means you're going to be vulnerable. Leave it open for healing to take place. Leave it open. I want you.
Yes.
Leave it open.
Yes.
Don't you take up all the space. If you take up all the space, how's God going to enact God's life and God's love and God's compassion? Show yourself. And I want you to stand up at this point. And I want you to join hands. And in joining hands, I want you to sing Amazing Grace. We're going to do 2 verses of Amazing Grace. Because what I want you to understand is that we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for some amazing grace. You know, you got to realize that you're not the only one that's concerned about your life. God's concerned about your life. You may not want it, and you may think you don't need it, but we're just not here for no purpose at all. Oh yeah, you're here for a purpose. Now you decide what it is this morning. Let us reach out now to each other. That freed someone. Oh, hold on now. Hold on.
Like thee.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
I've seen
Through many days of toils and snares.
all through many days, just talk and sad.
I have already come.
Already come. Oh yes, I've come. I have.
We brought these things thus far.
We'll